$13.95. Adelaide's FIVEaa. This is Andrew Reimer.
We will listen to Jeremy Cordeaux again tomorrow between 8 and midnight here on Adelaide's FIVEaa, 13.95 a.m. Joining us now, though, somebody who we really enjoy listening to on a Sunday night, talking about all things, all issues, is somebody named Steve Davis. He's a regular on this program, and I'm so grateful that that is the case. He talks about his podcast, The Adelaide Show, every Sunday night, and he's doing it again tonight. Hello, Steve.
G'day, Andrew.
How are you going? You've had a busy weekend. I've been following you on Facebook.
One of the guests we had this week on the Adelaide Show podcast is a filmmaker who's pretty good at getting his actors to play along with whatever he wants. His name is Tim Pine, and some people listening might remember that name if they're avid football followers, in particular Port Adelaide football followers, because Tim, around age, 17, 18, etc., was heading up through the ranks, destined for a career in AFL. Mm-hmm. He was playing for the Port Adelaide Magpies in the SANFL. I think he got just up to reserves from memory. He told us stories in the podcast this week about having to tag Kane Corns back when Kane was, 18 or thereabouts, and said even back then, Kane was so hard to contain. This Tim Pine, he reckons no one else in the competition gave him any grief. He could tag anyone till the cows come home, but there's something about this Kane Corns bloke. He not only was fast, he could read the play. He had the football brain of football brains, but as is too common, his knees went. This is Tim Pine. We would have seen him on the AFL today had he not. He apparently in one of the reserves training sessions in front of Warren Treadray's dad, he said, who was a coach there, he took a mark in the centre and ran forward off to kick a goal, and at that point his kneecap, one of his kneecaps, slipped down into his shins. Now, that's got to hurt.
Oh, just the thought of it is terrible.
I know. Yep. And he said, and stupidly, he sort of pushed it back up into place, which he said, in retrospect, wasn't the smartest thing to do because it hurt like buggery, and it also did some more damage. So he ended up having to have, the sad thing, the knee reconstruction, removing cartilage, all those sorts of things. For a lad, 18, 19, that was it, career over. Just one of those things where the Port Adelaide fans in particular should be the most annoyed at that, because he was, from the way he told his story, he was a fairly natural player in the game. And in fact, he had a good nose on him. We got him off onto the beaten track. He made one comment.
He had a nose for noses,
He had a nose, yes.
He had a nose for noses,
Where's that from?
Inspector Clouseau.
Ah, there we go, yes.
The Pink Panther.
A nurse?
I have a nose for noses,
Well, his nose, it was particularly finely tuned for the change rooms of footy clubs. He said he's smelled a lot of them, and we got out of him his list of the smelliest change rooms in the SANFL. Do you want to have a guess at which change room? There's great risk here.
No, I'm not sure whether or not it'd be litigious.
It could be. Just leave it to us to suffer the lawsuit.
Let people listen to the podcast. You get yourself into trouble. I don't need the drama. I've got enough drama happening on Twitter at the moment.
Have you?
Oh, yes. I'm being called a lefty.
What? Hang on.
Yeah.
Andrew Reimer being called a lefty.
Andrew Right-Wing Reimer, as various people like to call me, being called a lefty on Twitter this evening.
Okay, there must be something wrong with the Twitter wires.
Well, no, really.
So anyway, when you listen to the podcast, you'll hear the top two smelliest change rooms in the SANFL and the top two sweetest smelling ones in the SANFL.
Oh, good. Well,
it's like a wine tasting. But for foot, I never played footy, so I'm not overly familiar with the smell. I believe there's a fair bit of Denker rub involved.
Yep.
Were you a footy player?
Very badly. I played. I won the most improved in the under 15s. The most improved.
What slipped for you? What slipped and did damage for you? Why did you not go on with it?
Well, because I was a lousy football player.
Oh, okay.
I was actually the one thing I was good at. I was good at what was it called? I was in the back pocket. They put me in the back pocket all the time because we were a terrible team. No, actually, that's maybe why we kept on losing. We were, yeah. But anyway, I played one game. I think we played against Marden, and they put me on their best player, and the coach said, "Shut him down." And I was really good at shutting players down. You know what I mean? I had no football skills, but I was good at tagging people and making sure they never got near it.
So, pushing them off the play?
No, just making sure that I spoiled things, which is the story of my life. I'd spoil everything.
If I could just pick up one thing Tim said in passing, did you grab him somewhere in his anatomy that might have hurt? Because apparently that's quite a tactic.
No.
You didn't?
No,
Okay.
no, not at all. Not at all, no.
All right. It came as news to me, too, that people will be quite so upfront with that. But Tim spills the beans, put it that way, on that conversation. So it's well worth a listen if you're a football fan. You get the nitty-gritty of the whole thing. He also has a few confronting things that happen in this video, and one thing we drill him on is why do filmmakers put disturbing images in some of their films? Because he's big on the fact that we all have choices in life. We don't have to do things we don't want to do. We don't have to be bad people or whatever. But he said when it comes to putting bad things in film, his belief is that he's capturing some aspect of reality. He's only reflecting that there is some stuff in the world that's bad. And so why censor it? Why censor it? So that's an endless debate. And you being a lefty, you'll be all against that, of course, Andrew. But if ever you've pondered that, why do
Left-wing Reimer hasn't got the same ring to it, though.
No, it hasn't.
No.
We'll work on that. We'll come up with something. One of the things is guns. We see guns in TV shows and movies all the time, and we all agree in this conversation it's the laziest thing for a filmmaker or a director to use, because you need a bit of drama in something. You throw a gun in it, and suddenly you've got to focus. It's much harder to write good drama without that. You've actually got to have good characters and good situations. So, look, if you're a film person, you'll probably enjoy that part of the debate.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
No, that's an interesting one too, but I think you're right. You throw happiness is a warm gun.
There you go. A bit of Beatles.
Bit of Beatles, yes. The White Album.
Yes. I'll leave you with a question that came up in our Is It News competition this week. Where was the very first South Australian newspaper printed?
The very first South Australian newspaper printed would be Kangaroo Island.
Incorrect.
Where was it printed?
London.
London?
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. What Nigel digs up as he does his research is phenomenal. The very first South Australian newspaper was printed there. Edition 2 of this particular publication was printed in Adelaide more than a year later, because after they did the first edition, they put the printing press on a boat and they sent it actually to Adelaide, which is not a bad move for an Adelaide newspaper. So we're going to dive deeper into that, because that was just in passing. There's so much about this state to learn.
There certainly is. Steve,
I'll see you Thursday night.
Good on you, mate. Yeah, catch you on this program next Sunday night as well.
Perfect.
Thanks very much. It's 7 minutes after 9.